Hi y'all, it's Beth here. Well, we've got 1 month left in the term, and you've got one major written assignment, your research paper. We're going to spend the entire month on it. So this is the time, if you're tired of your columnist and want to switch, now's the time to do it. Each week we will take one more step closer to the final draft of your research paper. This week I want to walk you through, we're going to do the proposal. I've got the middle page up here for you. And then you see that we're going to the proposal, the assignment. I want to explain to you what I'm looking for. I'm actually looking for this to be the conversation between you and me about your paper so that I can help you, so that I know at the end of this week, by Sunday night, I should know what you're writing on, what columnist, and what idea, what issue, what topic. This is a persuasive paper. I want your opinion, not just your columnist opinion, but your opinion. Then I want you to support it with your research. So I've got 4 parts to this. This is not an extensive written assignment. It's mainly, as I said, just a communication between you and me. I need to see that you've got some direction and some plans for what you're doing. First part, I just need your topic. Your columnist's name, his or her political leanings on the specific topic. You might be writing of Nicholas Kristof and climate change, or Cohen and human rights, or Brooks and Trump. The first part, it's just going to be a phrase. Second part, your thesis. That'll be a complete sentence. That'll be, do you agree with your columnist? Do you disagree with him or her? What do you think about their style of writing, their sarcasm, their humor, their cynicism, their anger? What do you think about it, in favor, against it, and stuff? I'm calling it a thesis. I could just as easily call it a hypothesis. Remember hypothesis from high school science classes? Hypothesis. Educated guess. It's not a guess out of thin air. It's something that's made out of knowing something about the subject. And in a science experiment, in a lab, if your hypothesis is proven untrue, it doesn't mean that the experiment has failed. No, goodness. The experiment was a success. It was just your hypothesis was wrong and needed to be revised. The same thing's true in a research paper. You start out thinking that you agree with something or thinking of something, but sometimes when you're doing research, you change your mind. That's perfectly okay. I want you to go into this with an open mind. I've had students come to me and say, I changed my mind. Do I need to completely change my topic? No. You need to change your thesis, but not your topic. And maybe you agree in a place you thought you disagreed, or vice versa. That's perfectly okay. I want you to go in there. This is also a good time for me to tell you, don't worry about what I think. I change my mind constantly. I do care that y'all have opinions, but as my students, as long as you can support it, go ahead. Don't worry about what I think. Convince me. You probably can. Then the third part of this, possible research you might use. And I've put down here, please don't write Google. I know you're going to use Google. Don't write databases. I know you're going to use databases. Don't write internet. I know you're going to use internet. You might want to think about what websites you might go to. Oh, obviously you're going to use the New York Times column that you're starting with, maybe 2, maybe something from another person. If you're dealing with something broad, like some issue with Trump or some other politician, or maybe, the Paris elections, weren't those interesting? Then you might want to deal with different columns about the same subject. But you might do a website. If you were dealing with climate change, you might go to the EPA's website. You might go to another nonprofit, human rights, or you've got Human Rights Watch. You might go to a government official's website. Just give me an idea. You don't really have to do research, but I want you to kind of have an idea of where to at least start your research. Number 4, this is going to be simple. Any kind of problems you foresee. Your answer might just be, no, I don't see any. But you might want to look, there might be too much information. It might be hard to narrow it. For instance, you can't just talk about your columnist's views on Trump because that would be a dictionary. So you might need to narrow things, focus. It might be that if you were writing about climate change, it might be that the research material you're finding is too scientific and you want to tone it down a little bit. Anything like that would be perfect for that. Now, I've given you a sample here. And let me go to it. I have come up with a hypothetical paper. I have not written it. I decided, since none of you are using Maureen Dowd, that I would pretend that I was writing a paper. She wrote a really interesting article in February about Melania Trump and offered a very unique perspective, saying that Melania Trump might actually be a feminist because she's refusing to bow down to tradition. I don't know what I think about it, but I thought it would be interesting. Maureen Dowd hasn't written anything for about a month, and a lot of us were worried that she was sick. Turns out she's on a cruise, so yay for her. Anyway, so my number one, this is all I'm expecting you to write. Takes up maybe half a page. So number one, the topic, Maureen Dowd's view of Melania Trump and the role of the First Lady. That's all. I'm just writing about that. But now, here's my thesis or my hypothesis. I'm saying that she's correct, that Melania Trump is actually a strong First Lady in her refusal to follow tradition. As I said, I'm not sure I agree with that or not, but I'm going to do some research on it and make up my mind. Yeah, it's controversial. I mean, who knows? But I would look and see. Now, my research, I obviously put down Maureen Dowd's article. And you'll notice I didn't use MLA documentation because for this isn't a works cited page. So I'm just putting it down just to show you that this is where I'm starting. And then Maureen Dowd herself quoted this woman's book, Kate Anderson Brower, First Women, the Grace and Power of Americans' Modern First Ladies. I haven't looked for it, but I would. A lot of your columnists actually cite things. You might want to look and see how they are. I don't know whether our library has it or if I can find it online. I probably can find at least a summary of it, maybe even a sample on Amazon. But I'm just putting down here that that's one of the places I'll look. Then I found this other thing in, this other woman wrote something in the New York Times that I found. Another one I might add on to that is some sort of American history reference book or something to look at other First Ladies, just to kind of give it context. I don't want to make it too broad because there are too many really, really interesting First Ladies. We've been lucky in that regard. But I might do some research in that way. But this is just the beginning. This is, 3 sources I'm thinking about. Might use them, might not. I'd aim at 5 for you, especially because one of them is given with the New York Times. Then problems. There's way too much coverage of Melania Trump's modeling life. And I don't know whether I want to get bogged down in that. And then I'm thinking there might not be enough variety of perspective of her life now because people either feel sorry for her or think she's, I don't know, a spoiled rich kid now. I don't know. I want to kind of probably give an overview of all the perspectives of her as a person, as a wife, as a First Lady, but I'm mainly talking about the First Lady part. So those are my problems. Does this give you kind of an idea of what I'm looking for? I'd like you just to get your topic, your thesis set, and see what you can do. Your main problem is going to be narrowing it down. So I'm going to say goodbye for now, and I'll be in touch with you, and let me know how it's working out. I'm not going to give you a grade on this, but I am going to comment on it and let you know what I think. Hopefully give you some suggestions. See if I can solve your problems if you have any, give you other ideas for research. I might be able to think of something that you haven't thought of. and I might be able to think of some problems or how to narrow it down. Anyway, let me know if I can help. I will talk to you later. Bye.